Hey guys, it's Ty and welcome back to my channel. So today I'm going to be reviewing Not Quite Dead Yet by Holly Jackson. This is a adult thriller, and if you are not familiar with Holly Jackson, this is actually their first adult thriller. All of the books they have written in the past are young adult, and I actually have videos for all of their books. So they are most popular for their series A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, which was how I was introduced into Holly Jackson. I absolutely adored that series, and I do have a series review. I also have a review of the novella that was released after that series was published. Then they also have two standalone thrillers, the first one being Five Survive, and then the other one being the reappearance of Rachel Price, which I also have individual reviews for those as well. I will have all of those linked down below in case you guys are interested and want to check out those books. So for the most part, I have enjoyed everything that Holly Jackson has released outside of the reappearance of Rachel Price. I will tell you guys right now, I did not like that book. I believe it came out last year, and if you guys check out my review for that, just be warned that it is more of a rant review because I just couldn't get behind it. But outside of that one, I have enjoyed everything else they have written. So every year since I have read A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, I have been really anticipating the books that Holly Jackson has been releasing. This is one of my most anticipated books of the year, and I will say that I have some mixed thoughts about this one. So for the most part, this is gonna be spoiler free. However, at the end, I will be doing a spoilery section because there is something that I really want to talk about, and I will definitely let you guys know when I get to that spoilery section in case you guys have not read the book yet. But we will go ahead and get started. So in Not Quite Dead Yet, we are following our main character, Jet. She is 27 years old, and the story starts off on Halloween night. So she's coming home from a Halloween fair. She comes home, she's home alone, and unfortunately for her, someone is there waiting for her, and she is attacked. She is bopped upside the head a few times, and she is essentially left for dead. She wakes up in the hospital, I want to say maybe like 36 hours or so later, and fortunately, she's alive, but she gets some very unfortunate news. So the doctor and her family basically explained to her that when she was hit in the head, like a piece of bone broke off. And so Jet has two options. One, she can go through with a surgery to try and remove that piece of bone, but with that surgery, there is only a 10% survival rate. Or she can wait it out over the next week, and the doctor told her that a aneurysm will form, it will rupture, and she will die, but at least she has a week to live. So to the dismay of her family, Jet decides that she's not going to go through with the surgery. She is going to spend this next week and try to figure out who murdered her. So with the help of her longtime friend and neighbor, Billy, they go on this quest to figure out who tried to murder her. That is essentially the story. And the first thing that I want to say is I actually really enjoyed the premise. Out of all of the thrillers I have read, I have never read something like this where we are doing a countdown to our main character's death. And that is actually something that I really enjoyed. So every few chapters, we are basically counting down to when Jet is going to die. I also really enjoyed her friendship with Billy. Over the course of the week, they spend a lot of time together. You learn before this whole situation took place that they weren't really as close as they used to be. So when she asked him for his help, he, of course, wants to go ahead and help her and figure out who did this to her. Obviously, over the course of the week, we see that some feelings start to arise between the two. Also, what I really enjoyed about this story is that there were a lot of secrets that were revealed, especially within Jet's family. That is something that I was not prepared for. You guys know that I love me some mess, but this was not the type of mess that I was expecting or that I could have predicted as far as these people in her life, like the stuff that they were hiding from each other. From the very beginning, I could kind of tell where the story was going. Now, because of all of these secrets, I was not able to guess like the reasoning behind what was going on, but I was able to kind of figure out very early on where it was headed. But I will say that Holly Jackson did a really good job, just like she has done in her other books. She did a really good job with making you continuously guess in regards to what was going on, and I really had a fun time with that. That's pretty much all I have in regards to the positives for this book. So I do have some things that I didn't quite enjoy with this, and I'm not going to say that they're negative. They're just things that didn't really work for me, but they seem to have worked well for other people because this book has been getting a lot of high praise. I think it has at least like a 4 something rating on Goodreads, so people have really been enjoying this. So take what I'm about to say with a grain of salt. So the first thing that did not really work for me with this book is Jet herself. As a character, there was something about her that I just was not able to warm up to. I will say I could sympathize with her and her situation that she's going through, because I don't know how I'd feel if I got attacked in the house and only had 7 days to live. And I will say that you start to learn that she basically really just wants approval from her family. And so that is why she is so dead set on trying to figure out who murdered her so she could basically feel like she accomplished something. But I do feel like Jet read really young. She's supposed to be 27 in this. You could have told me that she was 17 and I would have believed it. After reading other people's reviews for this book, because I was wondering, like, why are people rating this so high? People said that Jet is very reminiscent of Pip from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder. I actually really liked Pip's character in that series, but I also understood that Pip was a high school student. And if you like Pip in that series, then maybe you will really like Jet in this book. But for me, I was expecting Jet to feel like an adult, especially because this is supposed to be an adult thriller. I don't feel like there was any sort of maturity to her character, and I really wish there was. Also, with this being an adult thriller, I don't feel like anything that was happening to the characters, essentially Jet and Billy, I don't feel like anything that was happening to them really screamed to me that this was adult. There weren't really that many like adult themes. Everything that they went through, you could have had characters that were 16, 17-year-olds go through the same thing, and I would have been like, yep, I believe that. I also feel like with Jet's character, you do have to have somewhat a suspension of disbelief, because somebody that has her type of brain injuries, I don't think they would be doing the things that Jet was doing. She was out here running around like there wasn't this aneurysm forming in her head. Now, some parts of it was kind of funny, and I don't want to make fun of her injuries because it's really not funny, but it was kind of funny with how like she was explaining it. So over the course of the week, like her body is basically kind of like shutting down. She's starting to see double. She's having these really bad headaches. At one point, one of her arms isn't working anymore. So I feel like the stuff that her and Billy was doing, someone else with those injuries probably would not be doing the same thing. I think if you can look past that, then you would probably enjoy it. For me, it was a little bit harder. I also felt like this book had some pacing issues for me. It literally took me almost 2 weeks to finish this. I feel like there were a lot of slower moments. And for some reason, I guess I just never really fully got invested into the story, because anytime I put the book down, I just wasn't really able to pick it back up. I will say that I feel like Holly Jackson did a really good job with like the action scenes, and like when we got those more fast-paced scenes, I was like in it. But when it started to slow down again, I wasn't really vibing with the book, and I would put it down, and again, it would take me a while to pick it up. The last issue that I had with this was the ending. Like I stated before, I kind of knew where the story was going. Now, there were some things that were revealed that I just did not see coming, which I did enjoy, but the explanation that we got at the end did not really make sense to me. And I was so underwhelmed by that, because this book is almost 400 pages, I believe. It's a chunky little book. Yeah, it's just short of 400 pages. And I feel like there was a lot of buildup, and I was kind of let down by the end with the explanation. Had we got a better explanation to what was going on, I probably would have rated this higher. I did end up rating this 3 stars because There were some things that I liked about it, and then there were other things that just didn't work for me, but I didn't necessarily hate it. So I settled on 3 stars, but if we would have gotten a better explanation, I probably would have given this 4 stars. I do want to talk about something at the end. So this is my spoiler warning for you guys. If you have not read the book and you do not want to be spoiled, I would leave this review right now and come back later. I will go ahead and put a spoiler banner at the end, but I'm telling you guys now, I'm really about to spoil this book. So what I want to talk about is like part of the explanation for the end, because I need somebody to explain this part to me. So in the story, we find out that Jet had an older sister that died. She essentially drowned in the family pool. And we come to find out over the story that Jet's brother, Luke, is the one that drowned Emily, her sister Emily, because he was upset with her and he lost his temper. And so he drowned her. And he did it without remorse. That's how it came across to me. Like, he was not sorry for what he did. The reason that he ended up doing that is because Emily found out that Luke has a different father, and obviously that upset him, so he killed her. He ended up getting help from his father. So we find out at the end that his father is actually Billy, Jet's friend's father, and he is the one that attacked Jet because he was upset that Jet's father wasn't going to leave Luke this construction company, which is a big part of the story. And he was also upset that Jet's mom, who he had an affair with, obviously, she ended up voting against him to be the next chief of police. So he was basically in his feelings. That's why he ended up hurting Jet. Because Luke wasn't getting the things that he wanted, and because he was upset that he wasn't chief of police, he decided that he was going to take something away from this woman, and that was going to be Jet. My problem with that and where I'm so lost is because Luke actually ended up killing his father because he was mad that his father killed Jet. Which I don't understand, because Luke killed their sister, but he had no remorse. So why are you so upset that he killed Jet, but you don't have any remorse for killing your sister Emily? I for the life of me, I do not understand that. And I also just don't understand why Luke's real father decided to kill Jet. Like, the explanation just did not work for me at all. It just seemed really petty. Like, that was a petty reason to kill somebody. And I just couldn't get behind Luke being upset about Jet dying, but not upset about the person that you killed, which I would be on board with that if he, showed some sort of remorse for killing their sister before, but he acted like he didn't care. So I don't know. That did not work for me. So if you guys have read this and you can understand why Luke was so upset about Jet's death, please explain it to me, because it just did not make sense to me. And just the reasoning behind the father wanting to kill Jet didn't make sense to me either. If you want to explain that to me, please do. If you write anything that has to do with the spoiler in the comments, please say that it's a spoiler so we don't ruin the experience for anybody else. But that's all that I have for the spoiler section. Now that the spoilers are over, I will say this is a book that I would recommend. Again, I really enjoyed the premise of this story. If this is something that sounds interesting to you, I would definitely pick it up. If you really liked Pip from A Good Girl's Guide to Murder series, then I would suggest you guys pick this up, because I do believe that both of these characters have similarities. However, Jet in this book just did not work for me. So those are my overall thoughts. Even though I did not necessarily love this the way that I wanted to, I will most certainly continue to pick up more from Holly Jackson. So please leave your thoughts down below if you have read this book. Again, if you are going to leave a spoilery comment, just make sure that you put spoiler before you leave the comment so that we do not ruin it for everybody else. But that is all that I have for you guys, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.